Okay, I'm gonna be real with y'all. If y'all want to know something about me, is that I know a lot of people are very divisive when against video game live action movies, adaptations in general. I can see why. We got a lot of shitty ones. There was a Super Mario Brothers movie, which you can just watch it for shits and giggles for how bad it is. A lot of these movies are like that. But oh man, I'm not talking about the whole Sonic trailer. It's probably gonna be a fun movie. It's still a better way of going to a direction with video game movies. Because at least they're actually doing something that okay. And the Detective Pikachu movie, I heard it's getting some praise. Like I heard it's getting some praise. At least for what I heard. I honestly don't think a lot of video game movies suck. The Dead Rising films, which didn't really get a lot of attention, but I saw some of them. I was even watching clips and everything. I was like, dude, this shit's cool. Like, damn, like, how is anybody hating on this? It's pretty much what you expect from a Dead Rising film, and it works, especially in the first one where Frank West, he's not even involved with the actual plot. He's just there for a comedic effect, and like on a news thing, and it's fucking hilarious. And the guy sold it. It's great. That's what I liked about it. I heard the sequel wasn't all that great either, but still, like those Dead Rising movies, they at least knew what they were doing in terms of just zombie films based off of Dead Rising. Just like, yeah, maybe just another zombie movie to a degree, but ain't that what Dead Rising really is? It's just getting a bunch of random shit, like just Dead Rising. Dan, what do you want? Yeah. Dead Rising is just another zombie game, but the only difference with from a lot of zombie games is like you can like drive around, kill all these zombies. You pretty much use anything in your environment, to use again against them. And a lot of times they expanded upon that in Dead Rising 2 and 3, where you can make weapons based from the shit you collect in the areas, and that is just a huge step up in all the creative ways you just take down all these zombies. It's insane. And I liked how they did utilize that in those movies a bit. It's just kind of what makes Dead Rising feel Dead Rising. The movie knows what it is, and it's freaking good for that. Another one is the Mortal Kombat movie by Paul W.S. Anderson. Yeah, that Paul W.S. Anderson, the very first Mortal Kombat movie. I'm not talking about that abomination of a sequel, but the Mortal Kombat film, even though it was PG-13, which I was surprised it was made for Mortal Kombat fans. Even though it didn't have a lot of blood and gore, because again, it was a PG-13 film, it followed what Mortal Kombat is with the characters and the story and the setting. It knew what it was. The guy that plays Shang Tsung, yeah, his actor was so good that they got the actual actor himself to motion cap Shang Tsung for the new Mortal Kombat game, because Shang Tsung's a DLC character. They got the actor himself to motion cap it, or voice it, whatever, how they're doing it, because a lot of games are doing it. But the thing is, more games are going more for the motion cap stuff. But I'm just saying, again, I still need touch bringing that actor back to play a character that he was infamously kind of known for back then. And the Mortal Kombat movie in general was just really good and really fun. They knew what they were going for. They knew the guys knew the story and knew where to go. The Liu Kang versus Reptile fight. Damn. It was made for Mortal Kombat fans, and it did what it needed to do, and it was all awesome for that. I always like even though Raiden in the movie isn't really what Raiden looks like in the games, the guy just pulled him off pretty well in kind of a cool way. Like, Raiden is supposed to be more mystical and serious, but I liked Raiden in the film a bit more in terms of personality. He was just he was just a really cool character. the Tomb Raider game, the Tomb Raider movies with Angelina Jolie. Now, Lara Croft, the way they depicted her in those movies, Angelina Jolie killed it. They perfectly capitalized on who Lara Croft was. She was sexy, badass, and just quick-witted. That's pretty much who she was. Back in the old game, she was shown to be this badass, sexy character, and Angelina Jolie, in the writers and the director, they pulled that off with the movies. And you can tell that, yeah, even though the movies themselves were dumb, but they were still good movies. At least in terms of adapting who Lara Croft is and what Tomb Raider is and everything with her. Sure, like I said, it isn't the most depicted in terms of Tomb Raider because there were fucking robots in it, but it was really over the top. Like somehow Devil May Cry. But still, the way they depicted Lara Croft's character was amazing. Angelina Jolie, like I said, killed it. I haven't heard the new Tomb Raider movie that came out. That's supposed to be more focused on, like, you know, based off of the newer games. I heard it was decent too, and the actress pulled off. Hell, I remember there's one video from Dash Games when he was kind of invited or something, like on this thing on like they did like so people could like try out like what the actress did as a prototype or something. Like it was something like that. And Dashi was just, even in the video, it's like, I don't know idea how the hell that, you know, these people did it in terms of stunts in the movie. He even called that impressive. So yeah, the Tomb Raider movies in general, they were definitely a lot better than like every other video game movie. Let's be real. But the ones I was really wanted to talk about, and I was kind of a little bit afraid to, was the Resident Evil movies by Paul W.S. Anderson. You can tell the guy is a fan of the games. It's just putting them into his own direction is kind of there, especially later on in the movies. But the first three, in my opinion, were great. Hell, if you just count the first one, if Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil movie, was the only Resident Evil movie that came out in terms of live action, you could kind of see it as some sort of spin-off to the actual game universe. It has nothing to do with the actual story or characters from the games or anything. It was just its own individual story that had some, that you could see that it took place a little bit before the events of Raccoon City, you know, between the first game and the second game / third game in Raccoon City. You could kind of see that, because you can tell that it was going for that horror vibe, and which is what Resident Evil was known for. And the characters were kind of neat. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of liked them. I kind of liked the story they were going with, and how they set it up the movie to begin with was great. Like, just the way the T-Virus was like, how the T-Virus escaped, and I love how they made the liquor a lot more dangerous than it was in the games. They made it such a big-ass deal when they revealed it. It was only the zombies in the movie, but when they got into the liquor, Paul W.S. Anderson made it like a fucking big-ass threat. And like, he built that up in that movie. And I like the fact that, yeah, given the amount of firepower they were end up wasting it on these zombies and all this stuff, and the amount of limited more firepower as the movie goes on, you're kind of like, how the hell are they going to take down this fucking liquor? So the first Resident Evil movie was, honestly, is probably my favorite and probably the best video game adapted movie. Because not only did it do its own thing, and I thought it did it very well, and you could kind of see it as, like I said, as part of the universe. It was honestly just a really cool film, and it knew what it was. It knew what Resident Evil was. It was a horror movie, and like I said, you could see it as part of the game universe in a way. And honestly, I really did like I said, I did like how the story was, and like I said, it's nothing special, but for a video game adapted to movie, it's kind of saying something. You can definitely tell that, you know, it was great. So yeah, I do love the first Resident Evil movie. I thought it was a great adaptation of the games, and it did its own thing. It did it very well and everything. It's just, I still like Resident Evil Apocalypse Like, I thought it was good. It wasn't, I mean, it wasn't the best, but it was still good for what it was trying to do. Extinction's probably my second favorite in the movie, because, like I said, it goes into a more post-apocalyptic in the real world thing, which I thought was okay. This is kind of intriguing. You get to see a couple of characters from the last film, and we get introduced to Ali Lauder as Claire Redfield, and a couple of new characters. It was still Resident Evil Extinction was a really good movie. It did well, like with how it was continuing the story of Alice, and it was a really good film for what it was worth. Even though Alice pretty much has powers in that movie, she kind of rarely even uses it. Like, it's rarely utilized, making her kind of, like, even though she can use it, it's, I mean, it's been a while since I actually watched it, but she barely utilized those powers, which was kind of neat. She was still pretty athletic and everything, because Mila Jovovich is just fucking all over the place with the stunts. But I feel like that by the time I got to Afterlife, the movie just kind of dipped lower in quality, and yeah, I still think Retribution as of the second half of the movies, it's probably the better one in my opinion, because they got my boy Leon, they brought Barry in, the whole Jill thing, and like they were like going full on just Resident Evil fan service with that movie. And in my opinion, that's just how I really liked Retribution. Afterlife, I didn't really like that much, and for what I've seen of the final chapter, I was like, okay. I haven't seen the full movie, but I'm kind of keeping my expectations a little bit low. So yeah, that's pretty much my summary of like video game movies or adaptation, live action stuff in general. But y'all probably wondering, okay, get to the point, sucka. Okay, so you're a fan. Oh, okay, but what are you going to talk about right here? So there's going to be a live action Resident Evil TV series being made. Now, it hasn't begun production yet. Like, we haven't got a full length of like who the cast is going to be. There's a good chance we won't get it until next year, like late 2020 or 2021, because again, it hasn't begun production yet. But it's being made by the same studio that brought us the Resident Evil movies. But the thing is, the same team isn't from the movies aren't even working on it. Like, the same team aren't, because that team is working on a Monster Hunter movie, which I'm hoping for it to be good, because what you do in Monster Hunter, like, I think that's a really good opportunity to make a good movie, but we'll see, okay, because Monster Hunter isn't known for its story in terms of a movie, so it's kind of interesting what they're going to go with. They're going to go for a Jurassic Park vibe. I'm kind of wondering, in my opinion. But another team in the studio is working on the TV series, and they're trying to get some sort of license to, like, get it over. It's rumored to be majorly Netflix, which I'm kind of down for, because Netflix just has some really good live action shows. It's not going to be Netflix original, for what I heard, but yeah. But okay, y'all probably want to know what's going to be the plot of this new TV series. Well, it's supposed to be focusing on in the game universe on everybody that was working on Umbrella, going to the deeper secrets of all these people that was working on Umbrella. Now, that's pretty much the core plot of the show, and I'm kind of curious where they're gonna go. Like, are they gonna go with like how Umbrella was formed? Like, that's how they're gonna go with the first season. It's gonna be like their idea, and like throughout halfway through the season, they're gonna be or like to like the season finale. That's like when they really create Umbrella. And season 2 is being following what is it, like Alexander Ashford, I think, from Code Veronica. Oswald E. Spencer, the founder of Umbrella. James Marcus, the guy that really started up everything in the franchise. If you played Resident Evil 0, Albert Wesker, William Birkin, all these scientists and everybody that was majorly involved. But here's the thing, and I'm really interested about this. If they're going to go into focus on all these characters, I don't think there really is much to know more about Wesker, because if you play the games, you kind of already know his ulterior motives. But I'm kind of wondering what his experience working kind of was. Like, what was his relationship with William Burke? And we kind of saw that a little bit in Resident Evil 0. We did. I'm kind of wondering if they had like some really good, you know, buddy thing kind of going, but they were still pretty serious about themselves. James Marcus, I would love to see his story before the events of Resident Evil 0. I would love to see how he was and who he really was, because we barely got to see that. He was he was a monster. And damn, my nose is itching. The character I'm mostly interested in is Oswald E. Spencer. He is the founder of Umbrella. But the thing is, we barely get any cut. We only got like one cutscene with him, and that was in Resident Evil 5, where Wesker has a flashback of when he, got to Spencer's mansion, and Spencer, like, he was talking to Wesker about he wanted to become a god, doing these experiments. That was his goal. He wanted to find ways to, ascend humanity, become immortal, become a god, and that was his goal. And you can tell from like how people were transformed into these monsters, these zombies. Yeah, they were ascending. They were taking a lot more than fucking bullets. I mean, if you look at how Nemesis turned out, that motherfucker was pretty much immortal. Like, you cannot kill him. You would need to drop a hydrogen bomb just to kill this thing. Because, I mean, sure, you can kill it as Jill and give it to another thing and stuff, but still, more than likely, you're going to need an atomic bomb just to kill Nemesis, because that dude just won't die. There are some things in Resident Evil, as we know, that instantly regenerate and cannot really die, but you can tell that from what Oswald was kind of going for, yeah, it makes sense, and you can definitely understand why they still continue trying to do this stuff and being undercover, but try and cover up everything that they were involved with until I ended up catching up to them in 2003, and Umbrella was just destroyed by then. So yeah, I would love to see what Oswald E. Spencer, like, how he got started. What was his, why was he really trying to become a god? I want to see more in depth, and I want to see his character more fleshed out. And like I said, if that's what they're going to be going for with the TV show, with Oswald E. Spencer pretty much probably being the main protagonist, because again, they're going to the more in-depth things in Umbrella. Somehow we get a lot more from Spencer, because again, we barely even know the guy. So, and he was the guy that really started up all of Umbrella, and we even got to, if you look through the notes of the series, you know about this guy in a way and what he was involved with. But who was he? That's the thing. We want to know the man himself, and we barely got that in RE5. Right when he's at death's door, when Wesker kills his ass. So I'm really curious about that, and I'm hoping he is the main protagonist, because again, he did start up Umbrella, so that's pretty much what's gonna be. That's what season 1 is probably gonna be about. Alexander Ashford, I would love to see what his stuff was. And I would like to see more about William Birkin, in my personal opinion, because even though we got to see and know what he ended up doing and experimenting and all this stuff, and maybe we'll see Annette as well. I don't really know, and probably have a cameo of Sherry. That would be pretty neat. Look, I'm just saying all this because I just want to see more and get to know more about these people that end up pretty much dying during the early days of Resident Evil. Because we only get to see what happens after the event, what happened to them. And we barely got any context to who these people were and who they really were. We know the stuff that they did and what they were trying to cover up, especially William Birkin. Like, the G virus was pretty much his whole. He's been working on that for years, and we all know what he ended up becoming. And like I said, I would like to see more of Albert Wesker and William Birkin. Like, even though we don't know who Wesker is, we all know what the fuck he does. I would love to see what his relationship with William was, because throughout quite a bit of the early stuff of Resident Evil, he was pretty much like, even in the picture in the Umbrella Lab and in the remake, you see him with Birkin right there. So, like, kind of right next to him. So you would think that, like, they were kind of a little bit more than partners, kind of like friends in a way, you know? Even though Wesker knew what, even though Wesker had his own goals and everything, I really want to see what their relationship was in terms of, like, you know, like, were they, like, buddies in a way, and kind of talk about things, but still kind of keeping it serious? Because we really don't know, because especially when we saw, you know, most we saw Wesker and William together in RE0, so again, and they were like serious partners in a way. You kind of saw that, so I'm kind of curious on if they're ever going to explore that a little bit more, like how they got started as partners. And I mean, shit, if we're being real, William's the real reason why Wesker's still alive, because in the Umbrella Chronicles we got to see how Wesker had a prototype of the G-Virus, and it bonded with his blood, and he ended up becoming a fucking superhuman. So yeah, I would love to see, like, how all that went down, in my opinion. You know, here's also a thing. Like, I know they explained how the T-Virus and everything else was made, but how did they really create it? How do they create all these viruses? I know they got, we read up notes, you know, like in the games they gave us notes on how they, you know, where they got this stuff and what was made to make the T-Virus, but how and where did they get all this shit? That's an interesting thing. Think of all the interesting stories they can come up with. Like, it's interesting because I really want to see more this extended. Like, even though we know, as Resident Evil fans, know a lot about these characters, I still like quite a bit, like what they did. I would love to see all that fleshed out more, especially with Oswald E. Spencer, with how he started out with the Umbrella. I really love to see where that goes. I would love to see moments with Wesker and William. Like, I really want to see how their partnership really was, you know, because we barely got to see that. Like, and also, like I said, I would love to see how Alexander ended up going, you know, with everything, because, you know, with Alexia and Alfred. I would love to see like his story arc to the, you know, like, even like right near like where the show's like about to end. We get to see like when it's up happening, at least of the Code Veronica in a way. I would love to see that as a little bit of a nod. In James Marcus, again, we barely get to know the man himself, and I would love to see like how, you know, dedicated he was, and about all this stuff. And I would love to see who else was involved. Like, we all know about the Trevor family that was in the Spencer Mansion. Again, guys, I really want to see more of this universe fleshed out, these characters, especially Oswald E. Spencer. I really want to see other characters get their own story and fleshed out. And probably even some people we don't really know that weren't even mentioned, and there was probably a reason why they weren't even mentioned. Like, maybe their records were wiped off because of their betrayal or something. We don't know. I mean, I really am interested in where they're gonna go with this. It hasn't begun production yet. Now, but I will be keeping an eye on this for like a teaser trailer, freaking like an official trailer by next year at least. I don't know, but I'm gonna be keeping an eye on this because I love Resident Evil, and I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do with this franchise. Because again, it's by the same studio by the movies, but it's a different team working on it. So that's pretty much all I got. Once we get any more information about the plot and who's gonna be involved in there and everything, I will make more videos that are going to be worth it. Because if we get like enough, like unless we get a lot more information, and I will talk about it more. But as of right now, we only got like it was announced. We're gonna get one. It's just as if they haven't begun for production yet or even released a teaser. So anyway, though, this is just my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video of me talking about this Resident Evil TV series announced. Like the video if y'all enjoyed it, subscribe if y'all want to see more, comment below what y'all think. And if y'all are new to the channel, if y'all want to see more, be sure to subscribe for more. I hope you guys enjoy it. See you guys in the next video. Survivor out. Oh yeah, and before I go, yeah, I already know about the previous Resident Evil series that ended up getting canceled, called Arclay. I saw the footage. I saw people's personal opinions and critiques and their own analysis on what was going to be a pretty good Resident Evil show, Arclay. Yeah, don't worry, I know about that, but I'm hoping this does end up being a thing, and it is good at revealing more about about Umbrella.